growing calls across the nation to defund the police.
To end policing as we know it.
Off the charts violence in New York City. 11 people shot in just 8 hours on
This is
Sunday.
about the police officers who every single day put on that uniform and they run towards danger when we run away from it.
Guns up!
Giddy up, y'all.
Welcome to Failure to Stop Podcast, the #1 show where police meet society and culture. We do 4 shows a week. Still to this day, Happy New Year, everybody. Every Tuesday night, you've got Nightshift with myself and the beautiful and audacious Andrea up late. Every Wednesday, going live on Wednesday, but the audio post on Thursday is last call of the day, giving you something else to talk about other than dead babies and domestic violence, so you don't sound like an asshole at the civilian barbecue on the weekends. Fridays are my breakdowns with Drew Breezy. It's all police breakdowns. And our new show, The Comm Center, with Jonathan Bates and Drew Breezy, which will be out every Thursday. We're really excited about that. If you'd like to support the show, please like, follow, subscribe on the YouTubes, hammer the like button. Go over to iTunes, leave a 5-star rating and review. That's all we ask of you, is a beautiful 5-star rating and review, which we will read every Friday on the Breakdown Show on the Big Show. So we really appreciate you guys coming back to us for another year, Season 3, Failure to Stop 2.0. Today's show is brought to you by ghostbed.com/Wolfpack and manscaped.com/Wolfpack as well. We've got some true crime news before we get into the meat of tonight's night shift topic. I will throw that over to Andrea. She'll walk us through it from there. I don't even know what we're talking about tonight.
Oh, well, we're talking about all kinds of things, but we will get started with some updates. Hey, everybody. Hope you've had a great Christmas and New Year's. So kind of going back a little bit, I like to go back over things from a few months ago and walk it back forward. Not a lot of interesting updates on some of the older things. We're still waiting on some answers for Dylan Rounds. If you remember, the farm boy in Utah went missing back in May, this past May. A lot of time has now gone by, and we still have no big updates other than the last we heard was some more nefarious information about the man who lived on his property, James Brenner. And we know that they recovered a cell phone and a pawn there on the property. The boots had been tampered with that were found. And his body could be found in one of the many abandoned mine shafts there in that area. So that's what's up with Dylan. Moving forward, we did a 3-part series on the Alec Murdaugh story, or just the Murdaugh saga in general, finally culminating with the 3rd part, which was the Alec Murdaugh case, who he ultimately was charged with the murder of his wife and his son, among many other crazy things that happened there. Again, I will urge you to go back and listen if you haven't listened to that. That was a great 3-part series. Ton of information there. His trial has continued to get pushed back. So as of now, he should be tried on January 23rd. The trial is set to probably take close to a month. We do know that the state prosecutors are seeking life without the possibility of parole, rather than the death penalty in that case. He's also currently sitting there awaiting like over 100 different financial type charges. So that's just a whole big mess. But most recently, we are still on the heels of the murder of the 4 college students in Moscow, Idaho. If you guys have been listening, we've put up a couple of updates there. So a suspect has been charged. He was found in Pennsylvania. So this happened in Idaho. This guy, Brian Kohlberger, was found at his parents' home in Pennsylvania, where presumably he fled to after, again, presumably committing the murders. He, in fact, was driving the white Hyundai Elantra that had been kind of a source of conversation since immediately the morning after the murders, after the bodies of the 4 were found. This is kind of interesting. So he was arrested this past Friday. murders occurred on the night of November, early morning hours of November 13th. So we find out that his father actually flew into town where he lived in Washington. Okay, so Brian was in getting a PhD, or excuse me, he was getting his PhD in criminology in Pullman, Washington. So where he was in Washington State was about 15 minutes from the rental home where the college kids lived and were murdered. So geographically, it was not far away at all. We're still trying to figure out some any connection between him and these students. We know that we should hear a lot more about that once he is in fact extradited back to Washington. So he waived his extradition rights. They don't even have to push for that. He's going to come on back. His defense attorney is saying that they want to, expedite this, streamline it, get him back so he can clear. These were the suspect's words, basically clear up any misconceptions here and move forward and kind of be done with this. It does not sound promising for him, however. We still don't have the murder weapon in hand. And we've learned, like I said, that we should be learning more in terms of his connection or knowledge of or relation to these students once he's actually back in Idaho, which he should be either later tonight or tomorrow. So basically any time now he should be getting back, and we should be getting a bit more in terms of the criminal complaint there. So interestingly enough, however, before he was in grad school in Washington, he went to DeSales in Pennsylvania. That's where he did his undergrad and graduate school. And there he did some psychology and behavioral type degrees. All of this was leading up toward this PhD in criminology. So he studied under Catherine Ramsland. This is notable because, excuse me, Catherine is a pretty well-known forensic psychologist. She's, I think, authored over 60 books, heavy emphasis on serial killers. She, to say befriended might be a bit of a stretch, but I think this can happen when people interview and work with these, killers for a long time. You develop a rapport, a relationship, and she had at least a very comfortable working relationship with the BTK killer, Dennis Rader. So they have spent a lot of time together. I think Catherine is like 70 now. She's been doing this for quite some time. So she and Dennis had quite a close relationship. And in fact, they co-authored a book together based on like her study of him and this type of behavior with a serial killer.
So do you think that this gentleman was trying to commit the perfect crime because he's been studying crime so much? Is it something that, do you think that he wanted to know what it felt like? Is this more of like a psychological thriller murder, if you will? I know that sounds terrible.
Well, exactly. And so that's a great point because with this working relationship that Catherine had with Dennis Rader, the BTK, if you're not familiar, bind, torture, kill was the acronym that Dennis made for himself to describe the way he murdered. He was a very egocentric, narcissistic type. He wanted all the attention for what he did. And so he coined that name for himself. But with her having that relationship with him, and then most recently, Brian Kohlberger, the suspect in this murder, having the relationship he had working under Catherine, it does beg the question of, is this something that he really has started formulating in his head? Is this something he tried to pull off and did not pull it off successfully in the sense of not getting caught, right? So if you go on Reddit, which, I mean, a lot of us know Reddit's it can be wonderful in certain kinds of ways. And a lot of people have figured out some things via Reddit. And then a lot of times things are misconstrued and, misinformation is given through Reddit. However, when he was in DeSales University in Pennsylvania, he actually conducted in graduate school a survey. And a lot of these things are not, out of the norm that as you're in graduate school, you're going to start to do these types of things, working toward a thesis. But he carried out a research project, and I'm going to read here to get it exactly verbatim, but to quote, understand how emotions and psychological traits influence decision making when committing a crime. He actually put this out on Reddit to garner participants in a study that had participated in any criminal behavior, but particularly violent crimes. And then it's followed up with the survey questions are all about their behavior and emotions after, and how they felt during and after the crimes they committed. So this actually he just conducted this survey back in June. Wow. And the murders were committed in November. So to answer your question, that doesn't seem like a far stretch at all.
It's kind of like you like what they say with like porn, right? Like if a child watches or a teenager watches porn enough, he thinks that that's what he's got to carry out.
Like that's normal.
So this guy,
normalized behavior.
No, so this guy is immersed in murder and homicide, and then he feels like the only next step is to know how this really feels in real life.
Well, yes and no, right? Because think about anyone else who's basically following his same footsteps academically, right? That could do this to go on to pursue an illustrious career or a reputable career. They could be following along his peers, his classmates are doing the same thing he's doing. His brain, is wired a bit differently, it sounds. And so it sounds like he took this to a different type of level. But I do agree with you there in terms of, I don't think that, if I were to work alongside Catherine Ramsland and she could tell me things about Dennis Rader that maybe I didn't know, and I read her books and I hear more things and maybe even talk to Dennis and whatever, that's not going to cause me to then go off and, slay people like this. That's not going to happen. Right. But if my brain's already wired a different kind of way, it might cause me to want to pursue these classes, to a different end.
Yeah.
I guess.
That's super interesting. Somebody had mentioned in the chats back up towards the top, the guy's name was Paladin. Or maybe I'm wrong on that. There's a lot going on in the chats tonight, but he seems to think that this guy's playing 3D chess. Here it is right here. Let me put the comment up here. Brian K is playing 3D chess. Law enforcement and the court are playing Chinese checkers. The public, including the YouTube vampires, vultures, and flying monkeys, are playing tiddlywinks.
Well, I haven't played Tiddlywinks in a solid 32 years. Yeah, I don't know.
Here's he followed up with Brian K has already won. What do you think he means by that? Is there a way that this guy's going to get away with this or something? Or is that he just fulfilled his fantasy? I'm not sure, because or what's going on?
Yeah. I'm not super certain what he means by that he's already won. Like I said, we have the car in question. There's been hint on some DNA. Don't fully know, but we know that, again, his car was sitting out front. They conducted a search warrant to his home in Washington immediately upon arresting him in Pennsylvania. It sounds like they already had eyes on him by the time he was not very far away from the murder location. I mean, a couple states over, he traveled quite a ways there, but they already had eyes on him. So they were already they didn't just stumble upon him once he got to Pennsylvania. They started following him on the way. Now, interesting fact, I said that his father had flown into Washington. This was on the cusp of Christmas. So the murders happened November 13th. Right around a month later, I believe it was the second week of December, his father, okay, I will address that in a moment. His father drove with him back. So his father was in that Hyundai with him all the way back to Pennsylvania. Authorities are not saying that the family has anything to do. In fact, they've gone so far as to say that that Brian is the sole suspect. They have zero thoughts that he acted with anyone else. They fully believe he acted alone. They seem very, very confident in what they have to present with. They've waited 6-7 weeks. We've talked about this ad nauseum in all the cases that we speak of. what we just got told, or in the chats, what someone had said was that maybe, that there's lack of evidence. We don't know that. There's no way for us to know that there's lack of evidence, and there's no reason for us to know the evidence, that they have right now. Absolutely zero, that me talking and you guys listening, none of us have any, we're not privy to that, and nor should we be at this time.
I'm guessing where Paladin 2004 is coming from is that maybe we're looking for some kind of like O.J. Simpson type trial, where this guy has been studying the law long enough and working on his doctorate. Does he have his doctorate? Did you say?
No, he just started. No, he just started in August for his PhD.
And maybe he thinks that he's got a loophole. Somebody else thinks that that there's more than just a dude murdering. I think there's some weird reason that he thinks he's going to prove or change something. That's coming from Silamander. So, but no, those are all good points. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I really hope that it's not some kind of disgusting game, because four beautiful human beings, and I'm guessing innocent human beings at this point, there's no motive of like bullying or him having any other run-ins with this crew.
No, not that we know of.
Random act.
I would think with him being 15 minutes away, and now we get into the speculation portion, which I don't prefer, but to bounce things off of each other, I think that with him being only 15 minutes away, I would, it's not far-fetched to think that they've crossed crossed paths. Exactly. I mean, be it frat parties, a local food truck, a bar down the street, whatever. So we'll see. That's gonna come out. We'll learn more about that. But I do, they've got him for now. Let's hope that's him. Let's hope it's airtight, and this can move on to a conviction. They really do sound confident, and like that's what I was about to mention a moment ago. We've talked about this so much that there's no reason for them to jump on this if they don't feel confident in a trial moving forward. So they feel like they have what they need.
We had a case here in Raleigh, and it's actually a case on the TV series Southern Fried Homicide, where a gentleman thought he was one step ahead of the law, and he was for about 7 years. And they knew he was the suspect, and the Raleigh Police Department detectives did an amazing job at following this guy at every turn and trying to figure it out. And they ended up finding his DNA. The most interesting part of that story was that they tried to pull a fork that he was using at Golden Corral, but it had his DNA along with 714 other people's DNA. Which is disgusting when you think about using a fork from any restaurant. And so they couldn't get his DNA from that. But the guy went as far as he never threw his cigarettes away. Put his cigarettes in his pockets all the time. He drove a bicycle, so he couldn't get pulled over by the cops, even though they were tailing him. And they say he was just brilliant. But they played the long game, and he fucked up, and they caught him. And so I'd like to think that the good guys will prevail in this case. Is that all for the true crime news for the week, or you got anything else?
Yeah, that cuts it for the week. If you guys have any questions or want to reach out later on Instagram, definitely do so on Failure to Stop or on my page, Andrea Up Late. If you have questions or tidbits that you hear, we're always open to hear what you guys have to say. But yeah, that's all for updates for right now, and it's brought to you by Manscaped. Visit Manscaped with code WOLFPACK anytime.
3, 2, 1. Happy New Year from our friends over at Manscaped. The ball has officially dropped, but that doesn't mean you have to drop the ball on your bowels in 2023. Whether you had a New Year's kiss or not, the leaders in below the waist grooming have you covered for your much needed resolution of bringing sexy back. Join the 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. Go to manscaped.com and use the promo code WOLFPACK for 20% off plus free shipping. Let us have a toast for a new year, a new you, and a new you with no pubes. I love Manscaped. They have been a loyal sponsor through several of the shows that I have done, including the Drinking Bros sports show that I did. They were on with the first season of Failure to Stop, the second season of Failure to Stop, and now we've getting to have them on the third season. I absolutely love it. They're 4.0, the signature lawnmower. I put it in the shower. It's got that skin safe technology that reduces cuts and nicks on your delicate parts. It's scary. It's scary when that little buzzer gets near your nuts. You're like, come on, man, this isn't gonna work. It took me a solid 3 shavings to put that thing on my balls. Now I can't get it off my balls. Sometimes I don't even need to shave. I just go into the shower and I put the little vibrating shaver thing on my balls just to feel it. A grooming routine isn't complete without applying the crop preserver, the crop reviver, all the little things, the little lotions to put on your balls. To complete the set, Manscaped threw in their Shed travel bag. I love the travel bag. I travel a lot with my kids, skating contests all up and down the East Coast, constantly staying in hotel rooms. So the travel bag is huge for us. The anti-shaving boxer briefs, love them, is a little free gift that they throw in there. If you really want to make 2023 a year to remember, make sure you try out Manscaped's wet goods as well. This includes their ultra premium body wash, 2-in-1 shampoo, and body deodorant. Use them all the time. My wife says you smell like a real fucking man, baby. I love it. It's getting me laid. Got a 5th child coming in the new year. What a way to break that news. But yeah, thanks to manscaped.com, shaving those balls, I'm now pregnant with my 5th child. My wife is pregnant with my 5th child. These products are the absolute perfect follow-up after your New Year's gym sesh. Cheers to new bowels in 2023. 20% off, free shipping with the code Wolfpack at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use promo code Wolfpack. Time to feel sexy and free this 2023 with Manscaped.
Oh, goodness. So much there. Also, congratulations on the new baby Tansy.
What do we got tonight, Andrea? What do we got? I know that the title says Doppelgängers.
It does. Yeah.
Enough to get my curiosity.
Yeah. So actually so much more than I realized. I know a lot of people who listen, a lot of people who chime in on Insta with us talk about a lot of paranormal and sci-fi type stuff. I wasn't thinking of or considering doppelganger in the sense of spiritual beings or ghost-like beings or omens, and I was very, very wrong because that's evidently what they are basically mostly known for. What I would think of or refer to a doppelganger as is just someone who looks like you. So you're walking down the street, you see someone who looks similar, or you see a picture online of a celebrity or someone from across the world and they look a lot like you, a physical, tangible person. That's what I've always known to be a doppelganger. And come to find out at this point in modern times, all of those are interchangeable. We use the word for everything. So, doppelgangers have been around for a very long time. So the first time that we know of this phrase being used in literature was actually in 1786. It's talked about throughout history. It's a German word that actually means double goer. Double goer. So 2 people that could be walking the earth. So some of this I'll be reading off my notes a little bit for you guys, but it generally reflects a like a wrath or because sometimes it's this isn't always a very happy thing, right? Or maybe some sort of an apparition that casts no shadow. It's a replica of the living person. When we're going to get into the idea of people like physical doppelgangers versus like the ghost-like spiritual doppelgangers and kind of the difference there. From what I gather, the ghost-like spiritual ones are a bit more of an omen. They're a bit a little scarier, the stuff you don't want to see. They're considered to actually signal impending death if you see your own. So
kind of like Back to the Future. If you see your future self in the past, it ruins the future.
Yes. Yeah. So we're going to get into the idea of even like a quantum theory parallel universe type.
I was going to say that. My wife is really into this parallel universe shit. She's really sold on it. Ashley. It's not really like her to dive into such things, but she's thoroughly convinced that there's potentially a multi-universe. Oh, and it looks like even though we're back for 2023, Andrea's internet is still stuck in 2022. While we wait for her internet to catch back up, I will address some of the people in the chats. This is a live show tonight. We have a lot of people tuning in, and I'm really excited about that. Drew Breezy, Bosco Autry, Mike McFowle, Deadleg Media. If you'd like to join in the live chats or you'd like to become a paid subscriber to the show, if you get on a desktop computer or a laptop, you can always hit the subscribe button. Drop a super chat, helps the show get going, and it keeps this show on the road as well as our sponsors. We don't ask a lot from you. We don't ask a lot. We just ask for a rating and a review. Hammer the like button, and then if you want to donate some money, if you want to, up the ante of the show, you can always leave a super chat, or you can just become a paid subscriber, which gets you into our private Discord channel. You can also see us back behind the stage. Looks like we have lost Andrea altogether at the moment, which is not anything abnormal if you've listened to the show before. The show always goes on. I will say personally that the doppelganger thing freaks me out, especially when we see some of these doppelgangers here in a few minutes. Love to know your thoughts on the doppelgangers in the chats. You can always hit that. Looks like she's rebooting now. Looks like she's back. I'm done filling in the dead space. Are you with us, Andrea?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, loud and clear. Thanks for coming back.
Okay. Yes. Well, everybody needs a break sometimes. So what we were talking about is the idea of a ghost or this spiritual apparition that looks like yourself, seems to carry more of an omen with it than necessarily the physical, tangible person that looks like you. All right. So folklore has it that if, let's say, you, Eric, were to see a doppelganger of me, that's a ghost, that's some sort of a spirit, that might indicate or signal sickness that might befall me. However, if I were to see the ghost-like apparition of my own self, that generally would signal impending death. That seems to be historically what accounts have shown.
This is a stupid question.
We know in 1796. Yep.
Sorry, I know there's a delay there. Can I ask a stupid question? If I make love to your doppelganger, does that in turn mean that I made love to you? Or is your doppelganger a totally different person?
It's like a different version of me. So it's hard to answer that question.
Version of me.
So it's like
that was a Alanis Morissette song. Yeah. Anytime
I can get you to sing some Morissette. Yeah. So and that's the thing too. So they're on time travel and doppelgangers. So some people have the theory that if time travel is possible, so back to your Back to the Future reference, right? If time travel is in fact possible, some people believe that with each time travel, twins of yourself are made, right? So that at any moment there could be multiple versions of you living at the same time, maybe different parts of the world, but also on these very closely related but parallel universes, and that they shouldn't run into each other. That's the theory behind the people, for the people who idea of a doppelganger. And that's actually a fantastic reference, is Back to the Future, because that's essentially what I read paragraphs and paragraphs upon, about this earlier today, and didn't even consider Back to the Future. So in Johann Richter's, I will butcher this name, but it's Siebenkus. It's the first time that we hear of the idea of a doppelganger being used in literature. And when you can translate portions of that literature to English, it says, so people who see themselves are called. And so we talk about the duality or the alter ego of a person. Some people believe that doppelgangers in that sense are the alter ego, or are forms that are sent from a less kind spirit, like something that could be a bit yucky, something that can convince you to do something terrible, like walk in front of this bus, like do these things, like that can convince you to do things you should not do. Some people believe that it's your alter ego, that in fact it's the version of yourself that you would otherwise not allow to exist, but would prefer for it to exist. So there's a lot of different camps in this. Um, it's pretty interesting. One example, and there are many, of celebrities in history of seeing their own doppelganger would be Abraham Lincoln. So he he was elected. This was soon after, I think, his election to his first term, though. So this one doesn't really line the timeline like a lot of them do. So it was around 1860. He saw his reflection doubled in a mirror in his home. This creeps me out a lot. This is different than some of the ones we'll talk about, but all of the mirror ones like really freak me out. Like I don't want to. The idea of looking into a mirror to see two things staring back at me and that they're both my face is terrifying. He continued to try to show his wife, Mary Todd. She could never see, though, only see it. And we all know what happened to him in 1865 with the assassination. But he saw this alongside himself at least 2 to 3 other times. And he actually referenced pale and sickly next to his own reflection. So,
Wow.
what do you think about that?
That's crazy because, well,
Right?
you know, I know one pair of doppelgangers. I hope you talk about them. But they have ran into each other and they've done interviews with each other and they know each other and they're actually like really good friends, but they are absolutely doppelgangers and they're not dead yet. But there is one question in the chat though that somebody says, if your wife has a doppelganger, is it cheating if you sleep with her doppelganger?
Somebody said what? I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Somebody said that in the chats, if your wife has a doppelganger and you sleep with a doppelganger, is it cheating?
With your wife's doppelganger?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's up to your wife. Probably not.
It's not cheating because it's just another version of her.
I mean, it's her alter ego. It's basically her after a couple of glasses of wine at night.
Well
Maybe.
played. All right, yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I'm creeped out by the whole doppelganger thing. I've always been creeped out by it. But go ahead.
Yeah. So, let's move right along a little bit. Do you have some of those pictures? Did you get any of the pictures I sent?
I did. And by the way, folks, I know there's a lot of dead space. That is because we are not in the same location and there is a hella delay. She actually has somebody to fix her internet this week. And hopefully going forward, we won't have such a delay. But for those of you who are experiencing that 10-second ridiculous delay, that is just us being far apart.
Yes. Yes. So statistics show that we have a 1 in 135 chance that a pair of complete doppelgangers exist somewhere in the world. So that's not super rare. However, there's some mathematics that have been done based on facial structure, and we have 8 key components to facial that have been used to formulate this kind of an algorithm, and the likelihood of all 8 of them is actually 1 in 1 trillion. This is actually something called the anthropometric survey database, and that's something that was Army, and it keeps track of the measurements of the soldiers. Because of this, we don't know what the AUs are in measurement, so that's a bit classified. But we know that when they've done this study and these algorithms and statistics with all of this, it's, like I said, a 1 in 1 trillion chance that someone's going to line up with all of those. All right, so let that some of you may have seen, a few of you may see what sparked my interest in doing the show on Doppelgängers. So there is a gentleman named Brady Feigl, Feigl. There's actually two. They are big baseball players. One plays for the Texas Rangers. One plays for the Oakland A's. They are both pitchers. They are both 6'4". They were both born on the 27th of the month. They both choose to wear glasses when they pitch, and we are now showing a picture of them. And it is so some baseball fans saw one of the Bradys, saw the other Brady. They all get to talking. If you guys are not watching right now, we have on these two gentlemen who have, again, the same frame glasses. That was just personal choosing. The same red hair, beard, the same shape of their face, a downturned nose, a thin upper lip. It's uncanny. They could actually pass for fraternal twins. So they learn about each other through their fans, and they find it so uncanny that they go on a test just to see if they were in fact separated by birth. Their parents vehemently denied was the case, and in fact they don't share DNA, so they're in fact not related, but same name, same height, same day of the month birthday, profession, and then obviously the looks it's insane.
How scary is that? Like that's
so
the most
that would be an
scary
example of the
It's the
Can
most
you
scary
imagine?
thing I've it's like frightening. These guys look like they're absolutely twins.
Yeah. Like it blows your mind. If you guys are listening and don't see that, I urge you to look it up. Again, it's Brady Feigl, Feigl, and you'll stumble upon more, but that one is just incredibly uncanny. So back to the idea of a spiritual or a ghost-like apparition that's a doppelganger. Queen Elizabeth I is one of the more notable historical figures that experienced this. And so the story goes that she saw more than a few times her doppelganger lying in her own bed. And again, similar to Abraham Lincoln's story, this was someone who was frail, not looking, but also looking just like her. And no one else saw this one. And Elizabeth actually died soon after from a sickness that left her bedridden.
So literally,
another
she was
quick
sleeping.
example of that would be
She was literally sleeping in a ghost bed. Matter of fact, I'm wearing the shirt tonight. We love Ghost Bed. They've been a loyal sponsor since day one. Everybody raves about them. They've had super comfortable mattresses that last forever and ever and ever, just like your doppelganger. And they're made in the good old USA. I'm not even going to try that with Andrea's delay tonight. Every mattress has a 20-year warranty. You can try it out for 101 nights. If you don't like it, you can send it back. No hard feelings, but you won't. One of our favorite parts about Ghost Bed is that each mattress has that cooling technology in it, so that if you get hot at night, like we do here in North Kakalaki or Wilmington, these things are an absolute lifesaver. Ghost Bed offers bundles so that you can get everything you need. You don't even have to really think about it. Just choose from their 4 mattresses and pick your bundle. Whether you just need a mattress and a frame or you want it all, I want it all. I want it all. And I want it. Like they're cooling pillows and sheets. You can get the best bang for your buck. Right now, GhostBed is offering a flash sale, 40% off GhostBed bundles when you get your mattress and adjustable base. Use that promo code Wolfpack, ghostbed.com/Wolfpack, or 30% off everything. If you use the promo code Wolfpack at ghostbed.com/Wolfpack, Valentine's Day is right around the corner, guys. Come on, light it up. Light it up. Get you that GhostBed pillow, get you them cooling sheets, get you a mattress, get you an adjustable base. So many of you guys from the Wolfpack got it over the Christmas break. So many of you guys reached out to me and said how much it changes your life. Some of you put it actually in the reviews on our iTunes reviews, and we really, really, really appreciate it. Head over to ghostbed.com/Wolfpack, and especially if you're going to be laying down your wife's doppelganger, might as well do it on a GhostBed.
Yeah. All right. So we also have the poet Percy. Percy is actually probably a bit better known as the husband of Mary Shelley, the author of Frankenstein. Percy saw his doppelganger multiple times. Again, we're back to the spiritual, like apparition type of a doppelganger. He saw him walking in the gardens, down the pathways at their home. And he drowned soon after in a sailing accident in 1812. So the one thing I think you should hope for is that you don't see your own ghost-like doppelganger. So now, I touched on this right when we kind of got going earlier, but I know your wife Ashley enjoys the idea of the fairies and the odd type of thing like that, human-like things. So that's a whole different. Talked about the time travel idea and like the quantum physics type thing, the parallel universe. There's also the idea of, if you guys have heard of like the changelings and the theories and thoughts behind that. Some people believe that the doppelganger is actually a changeling version, potentially like a fairy type thing. And people think that it would exist for different types of reasons. It just depends on the camp they're in there. Another one, which I know a lot of you got excited when we did the potential alien abduction episode. Another theory for some people is that aliens, like the doppelganger, would be something that an alien uses to kind of get in on Earth and get in with humans and interact, converse, learn more here on Earth with us. What do you think about that?
That would be very interesting. Like an alien saying like, we've got to use kind of like a I don't know, like a mascot, I guess. Like what was the movie Men in Black? Yeah, where the alien comes down and he gets inside of another human. Okay, I got you.
Sugar. I want sugar.
Sugar.
That's what he said.
But like, what do you think about like these celebrities that were dead? Like the celebrities that are alive, but their doppelgangers are from like the Civil War, but they're just now uncovering pictures where it's uncanny.
Yeah, so you can show some of those if you want. I think one of the more widely circulating ones is the Nicolas Cage doppelganger. And so you'll see. So if you're just listening, we have this split screen of Nicolas Cage, half his face, half this other gentleman's face, old black with a bow tie and a mustache, and it is unreal.
Now, could this be a joke though? Could these pictures be a joke? Like, do we have any proof that these are real pictures, or did somebody just create these old timey pictures? Because that's fucking Nicolas Cage. Excuse my French.
Well, he's not the only one. And so I thought about that too, but I've been looking into him more, and I don't think that that's the case. Now, again, we have with the amount of people on this earth, it's not heard of to find someone that looks similar to you. So now we have one on the screen. This one made me laugh because it looks like a picture of Jimmy Fallon doing a spoof on Jimmy Fallon. It's a Jimmy Fallon doppelganger, as you could have guessed from what I just said. An old black and white mustachioed photo again of a gentleman who looks eerily like Jim. In fact, he looks like an annoyed Jimmy Fallon right there.
If
Like
you
he's
were to
annoyed
tell
about
me
this topic altogether.
that was Jimmy Fallon, I would 100% be like, yeah, that's totally Jimmy Fallon as some kind of a double, probably in some kind of really bad Asian Chinese fighting karate movie. But this guy's name is Mir Kayan. Like, this guy actually has a freaking name. Like, this is insane. We're gonna put all this up on our Instagram. You can follow us at Failure to Stop on Instagram or Facebook. I'll put all these pictures on there. That's scary though. Like, that's ridiculous. That's Jimmy Fallon. That's not Mayor Kayan. That's Jimmy Fallon. Like, it's not a lookalike. That's fucking him.
It's it's so weird. It is so weird. So we also have another one. Please, please put up the one of Barack Obama's doppelganger. This is a really funny story. So this guy, guys, if you're looking, I keep saying it, but if you're looking, even the way, can you see how the bottom lip kind of slopes downward toward the right side of his face?
Yes.
It's just the detail like that is uncanny. All right. So let's see here. I had this guy's name written down somewhere. It doesn't much matter. But this guy is actually, oh, here he is. His name is Ilham. Yeah, they have the same shape. His name is Ilham Anaz. So he lives on the island of Java. And he was a photographer. He doesn't have time for that now because he is a full-time Barack Obama impersonator. He actually has taken on gigs about climate change and things like that where people actually think that it's Barack Obama. A story, Obama actually came near his island and people got to see him and talk to him. But Ilham over there, the right one on the screen, was not there and could not participate and meet Barack Obama because he was actually in the United States pretending to be Obama.
Now, could this be like Joe Biden right now? Do you think Joe Biden, they found his doppelganger and that's who's just up on the podium doing the whole thing? Or do you think Joe Biden's still with us?
No, because they could have done a better job. Surely they would have done a better job, right?
His doppelganger couldn't be that dumb.
Like, I mean, I just think that's tough. That's tough. But yeah, it's wild. So I sent you the pictures of Nicholas, Barack, let's see here, Brady Feigl, the baseball guy, Jimmy Fallon. I think that's all the pictures that I sent you. But you guys need to look into this because it is it's wild. I will say this. The Barack Obama one I would like to look into a little bit more because some of the way the articles have been written have actually since been people have gone back to edit them to not be worded the way they're worded. It actually is near Kenya, and come to find out he lives where Barack Obama's father hails from. So I'm not sure how much of a doppelganger situation we have going on, rather than a biological one, but
the plot thickens.
Something to think about.
Something
to consider.
Mer530 in the chat says, look into the Joe Biden earlobe conspiracy. I will, Mer530. I will absolutely look into the Joe Biden earlobe conspiracy. I love this stuff. Andrea, do you think that you have a doppelganger? I know who my doppelganger is. He goes by the name of Brad Pitt, famous actor. I'm also in the entertainment industry, so we have a lot in common too. Almost uncanny in how handsome we both are.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If I had to guess your doppelganger, I would
Uh,
say maybe like an early Anna Nicole Smith before she got married to a really rich old dude and got enormously fat. But the porn days, Anna Nicole Smith, that what I would say was your doppelganger.
Okay. Oh, but to that point, I'm ignoring you totally. If you guys do follow and do listen, I touched on it on Instagram earlier. I would love for you guys when we did a contest before we went to the Bush and Breaking Benjamin concert, and I would like to do another contest like that. Whoever can find the closest doppelgangers to myself or Eric, for sure, frog and find doppelgangers of Drew and John. We would love that as well. So
Yeah, let's do the
send 'em
winner.
in.
I'll send
Send 'em
a
to my DMs.
Manscaped.
We'll
I'll
go
send a
through
Manscaped
'em.
4.0.
Maybe a smile.
I'll send a Manscaped 4.0.
Oh, hey guys. So Andy. Perfect. So this week you have this week to find yours 4.0. We'd love that.
Somebody says the air
Can
was
you hear
more
me?
dead than the air of Nightshift. Luckily, the listeners on the podcast won't even hear that because we'll edit out all that dead space. Yeah, I apologize. Listen, guys, this is what happens when you do a live show. When you're live and you have a budget of like hundreds of dollars. After everybody gets hundreds of dollars of getting paid, yeah, you you're gonna get some delays. We're not CNN, we're not Fox News, but you know what? She does have a meeting. Andrea does have a meeting to get her internet hardwired into her computer, so it'll make it go a lot faster, and we won't have this 25-minute delay. Tomorrow, I have a really great guest on Last Call, Wayfinder Allie. You can find her on
I
Instagram.
like it.
She's a survivalist. What's up?
No, go ahead. Delay. Never mind.
Yeah, that was 25 minutes late. Wayfinder Allie, and she's a survivalist, and she works a lot with children, teaching children all sorts of things, from knot tying to starting fires to skinning things to climbing rocks and mountains to survival in the ocean. I mean, she's a survival expert at this moment. Me being a survival student myself and a graduate of one of the hardest survival schools, I am excited to have her on tomorrow to listen to all the things she has to say about survival, which is, that's what Last Call is all about. It's things to do with your kids, things to do with your family, something else to talk about other than the job. And then Friday, like we said, we have the big giant breakdown, which is a crazy police related case that Drew and I will be breaking down in depth. And then don't forget the release of the brand new, never before heard ever, call-in show, The Comm Center, with Drew Breezy and Jonathan Bates. They will be taking calls tomorrow night. I think they're going to post the phone number in here. Please, if you want to be a part of this, you don't have to do it live. You can
Thursday
call this
night.
number at any time. Yep, Thursday night. Oh, I'm sorry. I keep thinking today's Wednesday. Yes, you're right. Thursday night. But you can call and leave them messages, and they were going to be putting up all sorts of weird stuff. But yep, Instagram Thursday night live. Audio will come out on Saturday, but the show will be live on the YouTubes on Thursday night. I'm not sure the time, but you'll figure it out here shortly. And they'll also be posting that phone number on our Facebook and our Instagram. So, yep, the phone number there is 727-231-6916, 757-231-6916. If you're following around in your police car, your first responder meat wagon, that phone number again, while you're getting that notepad out of your breast pocket and getting to your pen that you can't find, you're now looking into your dashboard. You're going through it. Now you're looking into the side compartment, only to find out that it's in the ashtray. You have found your pen. You're ready to write. That number is 757-231-6916. Photo Stop 2.0 Comm Center. Guys, thank you for everybody that joined us live in the chats tonight. There were so many of you guys tonight, and it's really fun to see you guys. We love you. John, Deadleg Media, Greg, Corn Pop was a band, dude. Micah McFowl, Bosco Autry, Brittany Faulkner. You guys, Antonio Sorzua. That's racist of me, not knowing that name. Hey, Antonio Sueza says that my doppelganger is my old homegirl back there, Casey Anthony. That was really funny. True Breezy says the laser fun. Guys, thank you so much.
Casey?
Andrea, would you like to close us out with a word of prayer?
Yes. Thank you, guys. It's so good to see you guys again. It's been a few weeks, so we're glad to be back, and we are looking forward to this year and a lot of new things coming down the line. So good night, y'all.
Good night, guys. Guns up. Giddy up.